Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Arena Brawl video, where this time we're going to be looking at another one of the tribes of Innistrad, a rather common one in other planes as well, but not with a tribal focus, humans. So humans are a very common creature type, funnily enough, as they tend to appear in all colours and in all sets, with only a few planes that actually don't have humans on them. With, I think, like, Lorwyn is the only one that immediately comes to mind. And as a result, in general, human as a tribe is one that doesn't interest me much, since they basically, they've basically got everything available to them in some way, shape or form, because someone, somewhere, has a card that does what you need. That's probably a human. However, because they are one of the tribes of Innistrad, technically, they do have their green-white coloration and a theme built around it in the actual set. So I figured, for the sake of completion, I'd go and do one of those, and I have gone with Sigarda, Champion of Light as the commander. There are a few other options, and I think most people that I've seen playing humans have played the probably superior Catilda Dawnheart Prime, who, gives you quite a bit of acceleration that lets you basically just play out your entire hand of humans if it remains on the field. It has pro werewolves, which is situationally useful. It can really hurt if you're playing Tovolar and you run up against it. Not as relevant all the time, but in those instances it can be, and also lets you then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, which is useful because humans tend to go wide and are not normally that big. However, I've not got one, and I didn't fancy using wildcards too much because, as I said, it's not an archetype that I am particularly fond of, and so I tried to keep it as light on wildcards as possible, since I know it's not one that I'm going to play much outside of videos. Sigarda, however, I did pull from my packs, and it does still provide a Lord effect to humans, and also is able to, if we get Coven, it allows us to reveal humans from among the top 5 cards, or a human, and put into hand. So it gives a good bit of selection. It also gives us a way to go above our opponents, with a bit of flying damage, and is able to then just give the rest of our team a bit of a buff to hopefully push through the damage. My one concern, essentially, with the deck is I feel I may, ironically, lack a lot of 2-power creatures to actually enable Coven. I have a lot of 1-mana things and 1-power things, and a number of 3-mana things, 3-power things. But then it's only really like Torrens and a few of these top-end 4-mana ones that actually are 2 as default. So it could be an issue where Coven doesn't get triggered all that frequently. So I've tried to put in a little bit of +1/+1 counter manipulation, with, like, say, Snakeskin Veil, Homestead, Carriage, to sort of help set up that Coven. It also then helps with training, which was the mechanic for Crimson Vow versus Midnight Hunt. And honestly, Torrens, I think I'd find a little bit more interesting to build around, and may do so in future, than just straight up humans. Just because I like the concept a bit more of that going wide and then having something big to swing in with, so that all of your little guys get a bit bigger. However, that's essentially the deck. It should be relatively straightforward, and hopefully will still go well. So, without further ado, let's get into some games. Alright, we're starting up against Halana and Alena. I've got 2 pieces of removal here, and that technically gets me a 3rd land. It's got to be a plains. Sigarda is double white, I believe, so I think this is a perfectly adequate hand. Our opponent is aggressively mulliganing. Okay. So we shall open up with our Cleric class, follow it up with an ambitious farmhand, which means we guarantee our third land. We then have 2 pieces of removal. Alright. So get down our farmhand. It says take that action on the plains. I just realised I've forgotten to change my art, but I think that's fine. These are very fitting art for a human deck. Alright, they're just doing setup. I appreciate this. Join the dance. Gives me something to do this turn. Gets me a bit of a wider board. Alright. I'm presuming that they are also short on lands, given that they mulliganed aggressively and have spent their turn essentially working on... nah. I block that, they can kill 2 of my things. So it doesn't seem like too fair of a trade. Whereas... what do I do here? If I drop that, I then only need one other thing. Halana comes down next turn, can start buffing things, but then I can borrow time. Leveling that up, I don't have anything to gain me life currently. This doesn't have haste, so I think I drop this first. As it is the bigger of the 2. I am tempted to swing in with both of these just to punch through, but I don't think there's any point. And then next turn we can drop the Griffwing and swing with Sagada. Or our opponent can pack it up then. I do think that with their aggressive mulliganing, they were hoping on getting those lands, and I mean, I've not seen much to assume otherwise, but I guess that they weren't in the best position and don't feel like trying to fight back from this point. So, presumably they've not got removal. That's a shame, but let's get on to the next game. Alright, we're up against a Liesa. I think I'll actually... yeah, I think I'll keep this hand. It's not the best. Starting out with a nice Cleric class there and there. And I do think I'm playing out this tapped early on. However, I do have a piece of... not hard removal, but... oh, well, there's a Cleric class of my own. So we'll drop that down. I do have a borrowed time, I do have an Adeline, and I'm hoping to probably play out Adeline. Let's see, they've got 3 mana, so if they drop a 4th land here, and then have a 5th one, they'll probably be going for Liesa on that turn, so I think I can safely drop Adeline, and then hopefully I'll be able to remove a on-curve Liesa. Alright, that's promising. Okay, I'm actually going to start out with Torrents instead, since Adeline's effect triggers on anything attacking, and Torrens cares about creatures being cast. Alright, I presume Liesa comes out here. Angel of Destiny. Alright. Well, with this in mind, I shall Candle Trap it. Oh, no, not that one, not that one. And then drop Adeline. Okay. Yep, they have their board wipe, but that's not an issue for me too much. Alright, that can serve as removal. This is bigger than theirs. Whenever a human you control dies, draw a card. A creature with +1/+1 counter on it in life. Okay. Well, start out with a Sagada. Alright, looks like they are in fact doing Angel Tribal. So, well, that's useful. Okay, let's see here. Is this just attacking creatures? So I've not got anything else with flying at the moment, so if I borrowed time, Valkyrie Harbinger, that's the only thing they've got left. Yeah, I mean, the Valkyrie Harbinger has to go. It's got lifelink, which works well with the cleric class, and it also then starts producing loads of angels. So I can get an attack in here because presumably they'll drop. Yeah. Ooh, they can get back their angel. That is pretty nifty. And yeah, they're now starting to get big with that cleric class. So I think I'm going to drop the star pupil. Yeah. No attacks for now. If they drop another angel, my... Okay, I'm going to do this now. Wanted to wait on it, but they are forcing my hand. I don't want them to grow their things too big. And now they can safely play out Liesa and grow lethal Valkyrie outside of the range of... it's double strike, so yeah, both of them will kill it. This is whenever a creature deals combat damage, and they need to have 15 or more, so they need to be at 40, I think? 25 plus 15, yeah. So 6, 10, that'll do it. That's not good. This is not a good state of affairs. Yeah, we'll take that action. Yeah, no, that's game. Since, yeah, I've not got the means to deal with the Angel of Destiny. So, the only thing I can kill currently is Liesa with the You Hear Something on Watch. And that's not going to matter, because that's going to still gain them 10 life there, which puts them at 46, which is definitely 15 over the starting life total. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. So, what could I have done differently? So, the first thing was, I think Taran's first was right. I did expect them to have a board wipe because they had their Liesa. I was just expecting them to play their Liesa first to get their one-sided value of it. Yeah, and then the only other thing I can think of was perhaps holding back and removing the cleric class before the level 3 ability came in, or in response to it, because since these are technically separate abilities, paying to level up to level 3 doesn't actually immediately trigger the level 3 thing. So I could, in response to that, destroy it, and they would have wasted their turn without getting back their angel. Now here's an interesting one I've not played against before. We've got Eruth, Tormented Prophet, who I believe whenever you draw a card, yeah, you exile the top 2 cards and you may play the cards this turn. I think this is a keepable hand. That makes it extra keepable because now I can keep up the Kabira takedown. That implies to me that they've got a burn spell. And that implies to me that they've probably got a counterspell. So I'm going to actually just hold off on this Luminarch aspirant for now. They will take their turn to play out Eruth. I can Valorous stance it and destroy it. So yeah, let's do that. That puts them back a bit, leaves us open to Spellbinder here. So, okay, Spikefield Hazard. I'd probably take the... This is a stacked hand, to say the least. Goldspan is probably what I take. Hullbreaker Horror. Yeah, that's not a nice hand. That I can kill, that I can't kill. That's going to be a problem if it once it gets to it, but... Alright, they have tapped out for the Maniform Hellkite. We shall play the Aspirant. Go to combat, put this on the Spellbinder and swing in. That is instant. They are both instant, so I can't realistically save my Aspirant, unfortunately. And if they were so inclined, they could kill both of my things. So let's see here. They have 5 mana. So they are probably going to try and remove my stuff this turn. I will take the damage. They do nothing. Okay. Homestead Courage is great. It might actually just be what I need here. Is a sorcery, so... how do we best do this? Because I can go to put a counter on this. They can go to burn it. They have to burn this with Cathartic Pyre. Which means I Snakeskin. Okay, this is pretty funky, but I think it will work out. We go for this. They go to Cathartic Pyre it in response. My Snakeskin Veil it. That no longer succeeds. This is now very, very big. I then go to do this on here. They go to burn it. I hear something on watch. And then I put this on here as well. And I just swing with this turn. And I've now grown a much, much bigger board presence. No blocks. And that gives me removal. So, do we get rid of the Prophet, or do we get rid of the Hellkite? Honestly, I think the Prophet provides the more value. I will then put this counter on the Aspirant still, so that I can potentially work bigger than the Halkite. Alright. That worked out quite nicely. Didn't end up using this as I expected to, but I think that that worked out in our favour. It's definitely, yeah, Spellbinder just providing that perfect information allowed for that to play out as well as it did. And I do think removing Eruth was the more important piece to get rid of, because yes, the Halkite, whenever they cast a non-creature spell, does create Dragon Illusions, but forcing them to use both of those defensively meant that we could then attack in safely and waste their spells. They were still stuck waiting for 7 mana to be able to play anything else out, and by removing Eruth, yeah, they weren't able to get 2 cards, which would mean that they'd be more likely to get a land and also something to deal with our board. So I think that overall worked out quite well. Alright, it's been a while since I've been against an Extus. I think that this deck can do quite well against it, but not with a hand like this. Because, yeah, assuming it is doing what most of the ones I've seen, which is mainly focused around awakening the Blood Avatar, I ultimately need to have some early creatures. Like, this can provide me some tokens. I guess this can come out turn 2. So actually no, I think this is fine. Oh, my game is freezing up. Come on, hurry it. There we go. I think this is actually fine, because we can turn 1 with our Cleric class, turn 2 Contortionist Troop, turn 3 Wedding Announcement, and even though we may not be able to swing in, it will get us a token, which then means we've got something to sacrifice to the Blood Avatar. Not sure why this is running like this badly at the moment. That's very peculiar on my end. I'll have to check my computer after this, probably. Alright, we shall drop you for green. Contortionist Troop for 1. Yes, the very impressive 1/1 for 2. Right, Ghoul Core of Nephalia. Very nice, very nice. We shall not attack. We'll get our human token. So if I get a land, I'll probably drop Sigarda. Okay. Alright. I guess it is a case that they were going for Awaken the Blood Avatar, but by having tokens, they've just decided that... I don't know. Very weird games today, both with shoddy game performance and opponents just dipping. But let's get on to the next one. Alright, we have an Olivia. This is a first for me to go up against this Reanimator commander. Or could also be Vampire Tribal. Both reasonably work, because I think the only actual Vampire Tribal vampire is Edgar, in terms of actually supporting vampires directly. I think this is keepable. That can fetch a plains. Turn 2, the Ambitious Farmhand gets us a 3rd land, which will probably be a plains. Turn Timber Symbiosis gives us a 4th land if we need it. Unfortunately, this doesn't imply to me that it is most likely vampires. Alright, we get our plains. Ooh, Torrens. I still do this for the guaranteed 3rd land. And then I will most likely drop Torrens next turn. Letter Tribal. I can approve. Alright, we've got Torrens into Adeline again. Let's see if this does better work for us here. What does Letter of Acceptance do? Just sacrifice it to draw a card, or tap it for mana. So, they're ramping up to Olivia very quickly, but they've yet to get something in Yard. Ooh, okay, double blockers. So... that is a 4th land, so I still presumably want to drop a creature. They are both flying, so I think I will drop the Sagada. Or I could drop Adeline and Chaplain. Yeah, if I drop Adeline and Chaplain, 3, 4, 5... if they have a Blood on the Snow, I'm absolutely boned. But if I drop both of these, I get 2 triggers of Torrens, and I go much, much wider. So I reckon I will go for that. So, depending on how things play out here, if I get board wiped, I'm going to be very, very sad. Otherwise... I mean, I've not got any flyers down, so they can safely attack with both, but I expect them to hold back the Knight. Ooh, that might stay back then, if they attack with the other two. I do reckon... okay. They've now got a means of discarding. They keep both back. Okay. Right, that is a concern. So... how do I best approach this? I can coven that, which leaves me with 2 mana, so... not the ideal thing. I reckon I borrowed time the Blood Vial Purveyor. Or I can Sagada, which gives me a blocker to trade into Olivia. This grows my board slightly bigger again. And I will be able to burn that blood token before they attack. The question is, do I attack in with anything? No, I don't think I do. In turn. Probably discard the dueling coach. Or I could just take 6. I am very concerned that they're going to use their blood token, discard something big scary, have Olivia come in a swinging, and I got to deal with that. But they do also only have 1 legendary, so Slaughter Specialist is not a big deal. Or not the biggest deal, at least. Ooh, nice. That is going to properly thin out my board. Yeah, Adeline goes, everything dies. That is nothing I can do about that. I will take that action. Yeah. I forgot that Meat Hook Massacre is also available. And with that in mind, I will now definitely discard the Dueling Coach. Since I no longer have the training to get value from it afterwards. Valorous Stance is a good option. The Indestructible would have done nothing. Do I play out the Chaplain of Arms? No, I don't think I do. Might. If I play this out as a land... Yeah, I'll play this out as a land and drop for the Imposter. So the good news is Olivia exiles things if there are no legendary vampires in play. So Olivia coming into play, attacking, and then being killed by Valorous Stance gets rid of it for good. Fall of the Imposter is also exile removal, so currently it will deal with the Blood Vial Purveyor for good. I will let this happen. This will be a painful 7. And then we destroy you. Yep. That gets exiled. I take the 7. Ooh. No, honestly, I think I just burn some of these as much as I don't want to. Because I want them to still have a creature on the board for when this goes off. And ideally I want the Blood Vial Purveyor to go. Candle Trap is a good option. 4, 5, 6... 4, 5, 6, 7. So they could Olivia and then get something back. Yeah, I think Candle Trap here works fine. It keeps this back for a turn. And that's all we need. And then if I Chaplain of Arms... gives my stuff ward, gives me another blood token before that goes, and also gives me a blocker if it an extra blocker if things look like they're suddenly about to get lethal. And next turn I will probably play out Sigarda, since Olivia can't safely attack into it. Ideally I need some sort of means of gaining life. So they can Olivia again, which could get a Slaughter Specialist. Or the Bloodcaster. Yeah. Not surprising. Swinging with the Olivia. I mean, if they get Bloodcaster, I can block it, so yeah, the Sword Specialist makes more sense. Although it does give me a human, which is actually great for me. If I take this 6, I'm down to 6, which is painful. But Blood Valve Purveyor goes, I can then Borrowed Time Olivia, and that gets rid of the Slaughter Specialist. I guess I could have also activated that in response and it would have got rid of one of their choice, which would have been the Slaughter Specialist. So let's see here. I do think I just Borrowed Time the Olivia here. Clear up their creatures. Swing in. I believe the haste vampires available to them are on the ground. It's the adversary, and they could. Yeah, that's an option that can make things very painful for me. I presume they exile a creature. Yep, they exile a creature. Although it does also damage them, which is a plus. And I do have a lot of blood tokens that I could go digging for answers with. Right, that has Menace, so I think this is a Sigarda turn, even if it does deal me 2 damage. And I'll play this out. I think I'm still predominantly white, so I'd rather that. No attacks, and turn. Alright, that's not good. I believe this game is coming to an end. Yeah, I am forced to double block the attendants. And they remember they've got the wedding invitation, so I can't actually block it. They win. Well played. So yes, I'd say potentially the one mistake was not considering the Meat Hook Massacre and playing out the Sigarda there. Sure, it got a lot of big numbers up, but with that Death Toucher there, I wasn't attacking in. I think I overdeveloped the board and would have been better off just swinging in or using the Borrowed Time to try and remove something to more safely swing in. Yeah, I think there was a line potentially, but yeah, the opponent played well. They had a decent number of answers and yeah, and they had their wedding invitation in their back pocket until they're able to win. So, well played to them. So that was the deck in action, and did alright. It had, well, I say it did alright. It lost 2 of the games and won 1 of the games, and then had 2 games that ended prematurely because the opponent scooped before anything actually happened. So, not 100% certain on what happened there, and didn't get quite as much time seeing how things worked to properly assess it as much as I'd like. But I feel that it did overall an alright job. I feel it held up in the games that it played. It wasn't massively left in the dirt. It just suffers as any deck does when it goes wide, is they've got a board wipe. You're back to square one. Got to rebuild that board. Never actually getting value from Sigarda to swing in and get the extra humans hurt. And Torrens never getting the value from the human soldiers with training. Perhaps I could have done. Perhaps had I played out that Torrens, gone for that alpha swing, got them all up, I'd have gotten a bit more damage, and yeah, I'm not sure it would have made that much of a difference, honestly. But that is the unfortunate nature sometimes with decks like this, with tribal decks that go wide, is board wipes, clear the board, and there's not much you can do about it beyond that point. So, it definitely could do with improvement. I 100% say that Catilda, Dawnheart Prime works better than Sigarda, since it comes down turn 2, and then you just develop your board so quickly that you should theoretically win before the board wipe happens. However, yeah, and similarly there's a few other good rare ones like the Sun Gold Sentry, and I think the Protector, the Cemetery Protector. Those are both cards that would probably be worth going in, just, avoiding the rarity issue. I hope you enjoyed the video. I definitely think from playing this, I will make my Torrens deck at some point. I want to see how well Torrens is able to perform without the condition of Sigarda, of being human tribal and just making it based on creature spells and then buffs to try and get in big swings. It could be fun. More of a training focus than just humans. So, I think I'm going to give that a try at some point. However, with that in mind, I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I hope to see you next time.